Hello, everybody. Anime Reflux. Yay! Dog and Scissors. I'm not going to use the Japanese name because no one's ever going to remember it in Western territories. So, yeah, Dog and Scissors is what the anime's called. Personal
So
opinion before we get into anything, I thought it was pretty good. Just blanket statement.
it's a weird show, and I only feel it's going to get weirder.
Yeah, it works, though.
Not
Yeah.
that this is a bad thing. This is just an observation.
Yeah. So, the show opens, and there's a dog, and there's a girl, well, woman, she's 20, so let's say woman, um, and she's writing, and he's reading, the dog is reading, and they seem to be having a conversation where she wants him to die, threatens him with scissors a few times.
That sounds horrible, by the way.
It does. If you take a lot of this show out of context, if you take a lot of this show in context, it's actually like a huge animal rights, like, red flag thing going on. He, hmm. Yeah. Uh, then it's the opening credits, I think. It's just, very stylish opening credits, which, that carries over to the rest of the show, more or less, as far as I can tell. Um, with like the opening credits actually have a bit of narration to them, it seems. I think like the whole thing was presumably tailor made to the show, like that whole intro. It's not just random J-pop song that they slapped on there. This was custom for the show.
Yeah, typically they don't. Well, I've seen a couple of shows where they have theme songs that are borrowed, but I've never seen it done for anime. But then
Sorry?
again, I don't know many Japanese songs.
Almost every single opening and ending credit sequence is just a J-pop song or a J-rock song. I don't know whether everything is just a J whatever genre song, but vast majority of them are literally just songs that have been picked from the radio and they're popular currently, or the record company wants to market them, so they slap them on an anime.
Yeah, look at every single opening from Naruto or Bleach, and that's it. That's that.
Not every single one. Usually, they'll give the first one a bit of a shot at being about the show. Like the Naruto one, I think was very um, traditional Japanese sounding. Likewise, the first One Piece opening obviously was directly about One Piece. But after that, no, those were just pop songs, all of them. We Go is the exception because they did the whole. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, vast majority of time it's just something that they slapped on there because deals were made. But in this case, it seems they did a proper separate one just for the show, and it works a lot. Like I actually voluntarily watched the opening, and not just because I kind of felt like I had to. It was an enjoyable part of the show, which is weird. Yeah. So, opening credits over, and we get Creepy Dude whose eyes we never get to see, and he's creepy because he is
Whoa.
just mumbling books, new books.
You sort of kind of get the impression that he might be a bibliophile or something like that.
Might be.
I'm not sure I got that impression. I don't know what you're talking about. That's... So he goes and gets some books because he likes books. Books. Books.
He likes them a lot.
And he has a very particular author who is his favorite, who's very mysterious. No one knows who they really are. They never show their face. They don't know even what gender they are, and they very specifically say gender, even though he keeps referring them to a him. But, whatever. Male normative, etc. Japan. So, this favorite author, he very much likes a very particular series that they have written, which is the 7 Deadly Sins series. And there are 6 books out, and he's waiting for the final one, Lust, that hasn't been released yet. And he goes to a cafe, I'm going to say, and is reading one of this particular author. I don't remember the name, but this particular author's newest work, and it's a boy love book, which, fair play to this guy's open-mindedness. Like, anything that this author writes, he will apparently willingly read cover to cover. So, fair play. Unless that's his thing. I don't know. We don't really get into that. And he seems to not take any interest in the female body whatsoever. So, maybe he is. We don't know. So, he's reading that, and then an armed robbery happens, which is strange for Japan, but, plot. So, the gunman is pointing a shotgun at the cafe owner, presumably, and he's a bit frantic, and he turns and tells him and the other girl that's sitting in another booth to stand up, and the guy immediately does. The girl does not, and continues just sort of writing and completely ignoring everything that's going on around her. Gunman doesn't take this well, and points the gun at her, and is about to pull the trigger when Bibliophile, I don't remember his name either. I think they only mentioned it once, to be honest. But yeah, he fights the guy for the gun. Successfully. He stops the guy from shooting the girl, at least. But then the gunman fights him off, and boom, headshot. Basically. Yeah. He dies. And as he is floating in the rainbow void of the afterlife, which is fair play, okay. Usually people go for a white light, but I like the imagination there.
Actually, hold on. I'm not so sure it was a headshot, because I don't think you'd be able to think after a headshot.
Okay. I got nowhere to go with that.
I'm just adding some color to the proceedings here.
Yeah. So he's in the afterlife, and he's like, no, I have so many more books to read, and calls the author's name over and over and over again, and then he sees a dog.
No. What he sees first is he sees the book that he wants.
The last
Lust,
book, yeah.
The last book, and he reaches out to touch it.
Yeah, because he very specifically said he wants to read that book before he dies. Earlier in the episode. And then the book turns into a dog, and he touches the dog. And then he is the dog! He is a dog in a pet shop. And there's an Afro man.
Why?
Why the Afro man? Or why am I referring to him as Afro man?
Why? Yes.
Okay.
Yes to all questions.
Well, there is an obvious answer that I could come up with that I could just throw out there, but everyone already knows what that is. The joke is just already written in everyone's heads, so I'm just gonna let it pass. Yeah, so Afro Man is there, and he's like, hey, yeah, cool, you're awake and stuff. Awesome. What's up, dog? Doggy dog. Some time passes, and the dog is going slowly insane because no books. Like, he is so desperate to read books that he reads all of the typeface on every surface of the shop. Okay, like...
I mean, to be fair, you would do that anyway.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Like,
if you're that
you're
bored, he's been there for 7 days.
he's in a cage for a week. Like, if you were in a cage for a week with nothing else to do, what else are you gonna do to fill that time?
Yeah. So he mentally starts chanting the author's name, and she shows up because this is the author, and she's like, looking at him. He's like, okay, what's your deal? And she smirks and says, how much for the dog? Afro Man says, it's not for sale. At which point, she pulls out a pair of scissors and cuts open the iron bars of the cage that the dog is in. And then the top of the cage falls on the dog, and that actually made me laugh a lot. Just, yeah. I expected the whole, okay, she's going to cut the cage open because this is a comedy series and it's crazy wacky hijinks and stuff, but I didn't expect the squishing. That was cute. It was a nice touch. Yeah, she totally takes the dog, by the way.
Now, Afro Man, I have a question for you. Why would you give a dog to this person? You just said it wasn't for sale.
Also, she just willfully hurt this dog directly in front of you by squishing it in a cage.
Come on, dude.
It was a sandwich.
Cage sandwich?
No, dog sandwich. You don't name it for the bread. What's wrong with you, Kenshi?
Shut up. I don't eat a lot of sandwiches, okay?
Yeah, that's true. That makes me sad. Anyway. So, skip to the author's home, presumably, and she has tied the dog up and hung it from the ceiling.
Strike two.
Do we really
animal
need
rights.
strikes? Do we need strikes? Do we?
I mean, this is the first episode. It's not like we're going to go into any more. Yes, we need strikes.
Also, this will be strike 3 because the first thing we saw was her wanting to kill this thing and threatening it with scissors.
Now, the reason, presumably, that she wants to kill it is because she heard his voice in her head for a week.
Yeah,
So,
and he wouldn't shut up, and he still continues to not shut up. Only now he's also barking at the same time, and she really wants him to shut up. So, yeah, we get the reveal that she can hear his thoughts.
But why? Because reasons.
Because
We
reasons.
honestly
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah.
It's never shown.
Comedy series. There's, like... Well, okay. Wacky comedy series. That's a very specific caveat that needs to be added. If it's just a comedy series, there's an argument to be made. They should probably explain it. But if it's wacky, then there's a lot more leeway that can be given. I forget what happens. They basically have a conversation about, so I've been hearing you calling my name for the past 4 days, and I really just wanted you to stop. So if you could die right now, that'd be great. Like, I'm just totally gonna kill you, and we're all gonna be happy. I'm gonna be so happy when you finally shut up. He's like, no, don't kill me, and such, and things, and I really forget where it went from here. Like, she decided to not kill it for some reason, and
he said something. He said something about first the cafe or something, and now this, and that got her attention.
Oh, right, yeah, it did. And then he explains his backstory off camera.
And he and she realizes that he was the one who stepped in. And do we still not know exactly how she managed to get out of that unharmed?
Presumably, the gunman, after shooting a minor, I presume still minor because he's like 16, 17, in the face with a shotgun, he decided to bolt because that's holy shit levels of bad.
Yeah, that's not an unreasonable assumption.
Yeah, that's you done fucked up levels of your life is basically over. So yeah, he bolted. Uh, yeah. So she's like quietly frustrated at why he decided to do that, and she doesn't understand. So she lets him free and just shows him around the flat. And the massive library that she has. And he's like, holy shit, are you rich? And she's like, yeah, pretty much. I'm like 1%er, baby. What's up?
These were not things that were said.
I think she says she's in the top percent of taxpayers, actually, so... Yeah, it's basically what she said. But yeah, it gets revealed that, yeah, she's totally that author that he loves so much. And, yeah, she's... What's his name? He's like, oh, holy shit, you're that author! Hey, you need to release that last book.
Hurry up and write Lust. You've become quite the rude dog all of a sudden, haven't you? Something like that.
So, I have a sneaking suspicion, and I did actually mention this before we started the episode when I was talking to Kenshi. I think everyone in this particular episode right now, and everyone not in this episode right now, because all of us are writers in our spare time. Well, other spare time when we're not doing pointless shit like this.
Pointless.
We may get some messages from people, requests, perhaps for us to release content more frequently, occasionally being very demanding about it.
Honestly, this is a lot nicer than I usually get.
There was a comment on one of the YouTube videos like last week that was basically saying, hey, fuckhead, release the next chapter of Whitest Man in Skyrim.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think he called me a fuckhead, but yeah, basically. So, yeah, I know that feel, and I very much sympathize with the woman that tried to kill a dog several times in this episode.
Now that's a sentence that I'm guessing you never thought you'd say.
No. Oh, and I think I missed a bit where she tells him her sizes, and he is very skeptical about her bust size because she's flat-chested. That's a thing that happened.
He remarks on it once, she takes offense. He remarks on it again later, and she cuts a crescent moon on his scalp.
Yeah. Like, I think directly after this, she strips down into lingerie for basically no reason. And says, hey, is this turning you on? And he's like, looks at her chest. No, I'm not attracted to you in the slightest. Which...
Only attracted to two-dimensional characters.
Right. I only get
How
off to
does that
smut.
even work?
Yeah.
He says some smart ass shit like, I only get off to 2D girls, though there's not really anything 3-dimensional about you. Which I thought was an awesome burn.
Moving on.
Yeah, so he sees... No, I think we move to the gym where she learns martial arts, and she explains that, yeah, I learn all sorts of stuff for writing because the more you know, the better stories you can write. Um, and he's like, yeah, cool. Your boobs didn't jiggle much in that sports bra though, so I don't care.
You're skipping over the good part, where she describes how awesome it would be if she inspired someone to become a martial artist or open a martial arts school because of her writing.
That's true too.
How it's the greatest joy for an author to be emulated. And we, I believe, can sympathize with that, am I right?
Yeah.
To a degree. In the grand scheme of things, I just want to entertain people.
Yeah.
Entertain and inspire.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't want anyone to be inspired by anything I do because I do lots of bad things and make bad decisions constantly.
and yet, you're awesome.
Yes, I am. Thank you, patient.
I think he was literally taken aback from that. He just needed a moment to collect himself. Holy shit, patient thinks I'm awesome.
No one's ever said it so bluntly before.
Okay. So yeah, that scene's over, and they go back to the flat or mansion. It's a little confusing because the subtitles call it apartment, and literally her dialogue calls it a mansion in English. But yeah, they go back, and the dog sees a news report about, hey, that guy that shot that kid in the face is still at large, and this is where he lived. Basically.
Yeah. And so he starts thinking about how he left his belongings in the apartment, and more importantly, how he left his points card in the apartment in his wallet.
For the bookshop, yeah.
Yeah. So, Scissor Girl overhears in the next room, and she seems contemplative, then calls someone using, I suppose, the clout that comes with being rich and or famous to get the address of the person who got killed. And again, I suppose since it was on the news, it was just public knowledge and they didn't really have to look too much into it. Anyway, cut to next morning.
Well, actually, she says on the phone that, oh, it was 102, not 101. Really? Because the dog said it was 101, because she can hear the thoughts. So, he got the address wrong. Intriguing.
Who was it that got the address wrong, I wonder?
The dog.
You sure?
Or possibly, I don't know. Someone got the address wrong, though, because the dog was very certain that he lived in 101, but the news and whoever the lady called was very sure that it was 102. So,
well, it seems more likely to me that they were the ones who were lying about it. Because...
Are we playing an intriguing game of, is the dog really that guy, or is it someone else entirely?
I suppose that's the hook that gets you to watch the next episode, because we cut to the next morning, she feeds the dog, and then cut to them at the apartment. And as soon as he asks what they're doing there, and she says, we're here to settle the score, or something. Cut to the closing credits where she's flying in a scissor-shaped mech.
In her lingerie again, because of course.
Of course.
Well, she's in scissors, obviously it cut her clothes off.
That's something that belongs in closing credits and not in the real world. It's...
If you say so. I mean, did you see the plug suits in Evangelion?
No, I have not watched Evangelion.
Good, don't.
Don't say that, or else it'll be the one that comes up next.
Oh. I think you just made me sad and made me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
Everybody, watch this show.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm totally going to watch more of this.
It is intriguing, I'll say that.
Also, it spoke to me on a level that made me feel really uncomfortable. Guys, I'm working on it, I promise. Leave me alone.
Kenji, if you please.
All right. Let's get this magic number generator going. And today we get 13.
M.
I'm trying to change it up.
Okay. 117.
All right. 117. Let's see what we get. I don't know what I want out of this.
Maggie's still there.
But I'll tell you what we're going to get. 80.
Alright, let's hope that this isn't something bad because we don't have enough people on to veto. The winner is... Wait a second, I've heard about this one. Mirai Nikki, translation Future Diary. This is supposed to be some amalgamation of Death Note and it's basically something about
well, I have
the world ends with you, that's it. It's an amalgamation of Death Note and the world ends with you.
Yukiteru always rejects offers to go out with friends, preferring to spend the time writing a diary on his cell phone. You arsehole. He has what he believes is an imaginary friend named Deus Ex Machina.
What?
You asshole. However, we don't have enough to veto. However, one day, Deus asks him to play a survival game along with 11 others.
You know, he calls them Deus, you know, because they're cool like that.
Yeah. The winner becomes the next Deus Ex Machina. In order to win, the contestants must use their diaries of the future to eliminate one another. For Yukiteru to survive, he must team up with another diary holder, a girl named Yuno. Okay, writing a diary on your phone is stupid. Goddamn millennials, I hate you all so much. Oh wait, that's like you two. I take that back, you guys are cool, but everyone else sucks.
I'm not a millennial.
Oh, okay.
Not really.
Why is it called Deus Ex Machina?
I'll tell you what. Watch the whole thing and find it.
Like, maybe that's not as overused a term as it is in the West in Japan? Maybe? I mean, it's in Latin, so I guess it probably wouldn't be.
It's gonna be okay.
Why didn't they just call it Rob and get it over with? Okay. So that's what we're watching next week. This is the penance for getting a really good one, finally. Yeah.
I mean... Oh, whatever.
You were going to say, well, maybe it's good, weren't you?
No, it wasn't, because I couldn't bring myself to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enjoy this. But it's my job.
Yeah. Okay. So,
God, the kid even looks like a fucking edgelord.
Is that a beanie or his hat on backwards?
So thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with Future Diary.
Yeah. Put your trousers up, you twazzock. Alright, bye everybody.
Bye.